8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to Coffee Talk with Karen and Anthony. This is our first show together, so let's welcome Anthony. Are you there?
I am here. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I am well, thank you. We got Anthony up early today because Anthony is an amazing DJ, and of course he works on Thursday nights. So he's like, "All right, Karen, I'll set my alarm," and apparently your alarm works.
Yes, for you, I got up. I don't get up for many people, but for you, I had to.
See, now when a man says, "For you, I get up," that does make me it makes me feel very special.
Well, you are special.
Well, thank you. So the cool part is like what I'm super excited about. And hopefully people are jumping on and they're going to join us and be live and interactive. Because if you download the app, you go to Real Talk with KarenStacy.podbean.com. You download the free app and you follow, you can actually participate in the conversation, meaning that whoever jumps on can comment, and Anthony and I can see their comments and read them. So it's a pretty cool thing to be interactive. And what I think is really super cool is that I gotta say that a lot of men, they don't want to come on here with me, and like I'm so happy, to have you with me, because I think that we need a male and a female perspective on things, because women definitely don't see things the same way men do.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, we definitely have. Sometimes we do, but most times, yeah, we definitely could have different opinions. So, I mean, as a man, I don't know why you're afraid to have an honest conversation. You shouldn't be.
You're not sure a man to have an honest conversation?
Well, you're saying a lot of men won't come on here with you, and I'm saying as a
Oh.
man, you shouldn't be afraid to have an honest conversation.
Well, it's funny that you say that, Anthony, because I wasn't sure what direction I was going in with things, but you just opened the door right now. So let's talk about afraid. So, we talk now, again, you're a DJ for anybody that's, that just tuned in. So obviously you are around men and women, at their best and worst,
Yeah.
For a living. So you've seen it all, right? So
Yes.
now I had, and this is why I love being able to chat with you, because I could have the same conversation with a female co-host and the end result is going to be completely different. So I was telling one of my other coffee talks with Emery, I was telling her that I was out, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago maybe, and this gentleman was definitely an older gentleman and looked like he had more money than God, dressed in a suit, looked presentable.
Right.
And he walked by me, and I don't know, he said something to my girlfriend, and he said, "She scares me." So you just said you don't know why men don't want to come on here and have like an honest conversation. I don't know what that. So now, right. So now what do you do with that? Like what, so my father gave me his opinion on it, but my father is also, and happy birthday, Daddy. Today's his 82nd birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Dad.
But my father gave me his perspective, but again, he's 82, right? So I would love to know, what the hell does that mean? I scared him. What is that?
I mean, my gut's going to tell me it's kind of a player line.
Now, he had no game, Anthony. No game. There was no player in that. Like, no.
Okay. So then my other gut reaction would say if somebody's really serious saying she scares me, then that would maybe indicate that you're someone who might see through. what he is or what he's trying to portray.
Uh-huh.
Because I think if you're coming across genuine, there's nothing to be scared about.
Right. Exactly. So like now I'm saying, I'm looking at this guy and like I said, I'm thinking like, and again, looks can be deceiving, right? So who knows? I don't know nothing about him. He was an
Right.
older gentleman. I mean, I just turned 55 and he was definitely, I would say he was definitely in his like good 60s, if you will.
Okay.
Okay. And who the hell knows? I could be wrong. But you're out with the suit. You could tell the guy was meticulous. Now,
Mm-hmm.
usually, in my opinion, a man like that commands the room.
Yes and no. Um, from my experience, true wealth is quiet.
Yes,
Um, true
but
wealth doesn't show off like that.
yeah, but
And
they're also not frightened by a 120-pound, 5'1" woman.
so that says to me he's not really who he's trying to portray then.
Okay,
Because there's an old saying, the loudest person in the room is usually the weakest person in the room.
of course.
So to me, if you're meticulous, you dress well, you're successful, you have money, you have nice clothes, there should be a level of confidence
Thank you.
that comes with that. Where again, even if you just have a conversation, it's what's the harm? There's no pressure that if he talks to you that he's under any obligation to do anything with you, to take you out. It's just a conversation. Now, if that leads to something, it does. But yeah, to me, I'm going to say that he's not really what he's trying to portray.
So, okay. So you're saying, so now I have so many ways to go with this conversation right now, right? So now my father said, well, it's something like what you said, like maybe it was just like, I think it was a pickup line. A pickup line. He said that. And I looked at him and like, what do I say at that point when somebody says that? Like, I'm like, so I'm looking at him and now if that was a line and he's just, not the smoothest and,
Right.
was a little awkward. Now, as a man,
Mm-hmm.
and I say this to people, when I had my other show, the easiest thing to do, you know what? Let me try that again. How about I get you a drink or something like that? Like when you realize that hit the ground, like, that's why I said I don't think it was a line, because if he had game, he would have, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but
You could.
in my opinion, if like if you're good with, like talking or whatever, if you see that something fell to the ground and this was something you wanted to pursue, you're going to go a different route. No, I mean, or you just,
Not always. No. Ego doesn't always necessarily accept defeat. I personally still think it was a line, maybe just to boost your ego. Say, oh, I'm scared of this one.
no, he didn't say it like that. Like it was like, I mean, I'm not that clueless, and believe me,
Okay.
that doesn't boost my ego. If anything, I left there scratching my head because, I just didn't even understand that because he didn't even speak to me. It wasn't like, like years ago when I was younger, I definitely had that bitch look on my face. Like, I don't know you. Don't talk to me. Don't touch me. Don't come near me. I always had that, because I was brought up in the Bronx and that's just the way we are. But I worked really hard not to be that way. I mean, you've seen me out. I've come to listen to you play a number of times. Do I look scary?
No, not at all. But I would say, at the end of the day, whatever the reason why he said it, I just think it's avoidable. It's probably not someone you might want to have a conversation with anyway.
Thank you. So that's how I felt. I said to myself, if you already showed your hand, because if I scare you, then I will eat you up and spit you out. Like I'm done, and I just kept it moving. And I was like, okay. All right. So now let's go further because like I said, I did talk about this and I need the male's perspective. Okay. So now this was a weekend because one of my girlfriends came in from Florida and like, she like relives her youth and we're out like for like 2 or 3 days in a row and then we all die afterwards, right? So we
Right.
went to another place the night before. So prior to that, we went to this other place. So I'm at the bar with one of my girlfriends and this girlfriend is like, she's like like the Energizer Bunny. She's just that type, right? And
Right.
she's just a goof and she doesn't drink like she smokes, but like she's not like that. So she's very approachable, right? And so me and her are like, we get there first and we're waiting for my other 2 girlfriends to come. And we meet these guys and I guess because, I'm from the Bronx, I can smell them out. This guy was like, so we snuck in to like get a chair, like to get a drink. And like,
Mhm.
you know how it is. Nobody wants to let you in to get a drink.
Right.
So I wiggle in and I literally wiggled in and this guy comes up and he goes, I don't know how the hell you just did that. Like, I want to see you do that again because I like wiggled and got in. So then this other guy was standing there. They were all friends and I could tell that he had a little bit of an edge to him. And then he's like, so we were standing there and then he noticed that we were having issues trying to get in there and he had like 3 chairs that they weren't sitting in. So he took one of the chairs, put the stuff on the other chair and goes sit there. And he said it like, oh, you over there. And I like looked at him and I laughed and I'm like, okay. And we were at the chair. And we ended up talking to these guys and, they were all like really nice, but I could tell he was like an authoritative type of guy. Like, I grew
Right.
up with all the boys. So I know
Right.
when somebody goes sit over there, like you go sit over there.
Right.
So now I'm standing there. My other 2 girlfriends show up or whatever. So we're all like goofing, having fun. And this guy, I forgot his name now, but he was like the clown, and joking around with us and all that. Reminded me of like the neighborhood type of people or whatever.
Mhm.
And he comes over to me. He goes, but what's your deal? Now we'd been hanging and laughing or whatever. And I looked at him. I said, what? What do you mean? He's like, well, what's your deal? I go, I don't know. What do you mean? What's my deal? we're out. We're having fun. And he goes, no one, he goes, I'm married. That's why I'm talking to you right now. He goes, no guy in this place is walking up to you. I go, why? What do you mean no guy's walking? Why? What? He goes, don't get me wrong. You're awesome. I'm having so much fun with you. You're sweet. You're approachable. I enjoy your company, blah, blah, blah. He goes, but no guy in this place is walking over to you. He's like, you're the total package and no guy is walking over to you. And I'm like, wait, what? So now, what does a woman do with that?
Uh, Again, I walk away. I mean, I don't even understand where he's coming from with that. I'm never a fan of what's your deal. I think it's one of the dumbest questions to ask somebody because, like you say, what do you mean? What's my deal? What are you talking about? I don't know. I mean, he's married. He's giving you a compliment, but then he's kind of giving you a backhanded compliment, saying that nobody's approaching you. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I
He
can't
was
help you with
trying
that.
to
That's
what he was trying to say was it was like it was he was trying to say like you're like you got it going on like but like people like a lot of the men aren't going to be confident enough
well.
to walk over to you. The only reason why I am is because I'm married and I'm not looking for anything.
I mean, another thing too is if you're sitting with a group of guys, I don't, at least our generation, North Jersey neighborhood I grew up in, I don't see many guys are going to walk up to you when you're already with a group of guys to start talking to you because one of them could be your boyfriend, one of them could be your husband. So it's not like you're at the bar alone. So that could also be a deterrent.
Yeah, but it wasn't really that kind of a thing because like the girls, we were like all kind of together. You could tell that we were not with them, but I do understand what you mean because it's like a respect thing. So
Yeah, I
d-
mean that's the only thing that I could see where guys are going to be like, all right, listen, she's over there, she's doing her thing. I'm not just going to walk into a conversation and say, hey, what's up?
Yeah, but it wasn't that kind of a thing. It was a different kind of a sentiment, and it was just very interesting to me because, and then there was another married guy that came over, but now this guy was definitely playing it like, like he'd come up, I'm married, so, you can't come home with me, and take advantage of me. So he thought like that was a line, and he was using that line with every woman in the place, right? So that's different because he's throwing the line out to see if
Yeah,
somebody.
he's gauging temperatures.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. He's throwing the line out because I might have turned around and said, "Oh, good. I'm glad you're married. I only like to be with married men because I don't want nothing else." Right?
Yeah,
That would be
exactly.
that.
Yes.
That could have been the answer. Never the answer that's coming out of my mouth, but that could have been the answer. So, like I've been around the block once or twice. So when I hear these kind of things, I know what I'm dealing with. But this was my weekend. I go out the first night and they're telling me, like, what's your deal? Nobody's going to come and talk to you. And then the next night I have a man tell me that I'm scary. So I was like, all right. I think that I'm better off, at home because apparently, this ain't working. So I just find it very interesting. So we were talking about this on one of the shows as well.
Hmm.
How do you think what do you think about how people meet now in this climate? And I mean, you're watching it in front of you. So what is your perspective on that?
On how they, what exactly is your question? How they meet? Like
Well,
what?
how
How?
do people meet? Like, do you feel like when you see people and they're out, are they like meeting people while they're out? Are they just the girls are going out, the guys are going out? Like, what do you see in front of you?
Oh no, I mean people are definitely meeting. But I see more of a hookup culture in the environment that I'm in.
Okay.
Um, you know, I see. I mean, people are definitely talking to each other, meeting up. Unfortunately, I do see a lot of cheating, and I see that on both ends. It's not just the men; it's
Yep.
definitely the women as well. Um, but yeah, I definitely see more of a hookup culture than I would say. Maybe back in the day, a genuine, hey,
Connection.
how are you? And you talk with somebody all night, and at the end of the night, maybe they wrote their number on a napkin, and you look forward to
Oh my God, old
meeting,
school, old
right, and
school.
having a date, and um, because you would talk to that. If you did meet someone, you really were locked in on that one person for the majority of the night,
Right,
and you had great conversation. You
right.
bought a drink, maybe you danced a little bit, but um, you were kind of locked on that person. Where now it's like, people kind of talk a little bit, they exchange the information, and boom, they're out. Okay, let's go talk to this one. Let's go talk to that one. And you kind of see them bouncing around a little bit. So I just think it's a different vibe. So what I see in my environment, and I can't say this is everywhere, but for my environment, I see more of a kind of like a hookup culture.
Well, do you think also, that this could also be, so I talk about like this overstimulation and such. So like you just said, like when, things were a little more genuine, let's call it, right, in the world.
Yep.
And you're right. Like you would go out, right? And then you'd meet people or whatever, and you'd basically hang out with them, most of the night. Like you'd
Right.
talk, and then like you said, you'd dance, you'd interact. And then it was like the butterflies, like, are we gonna, who's gonna ask for the number? And like you said, write it on a napkin, like so cute,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and you had again that one-on-one, if you will, right?
Correct.
Now no one knows how to do a one-on-one. It's like when you're on, I tell the story all the time. I remember when I was on like Plenty of Fish, like, after my husband had passed, and like while you're answering the messages that you have in your inbox, there's a carousel going on the top showing you, more,
Yeah.
guys or girls, to meet. And I always make the comparison of like the dessert table, like when you're at a restaurant and they bring out the 20 dessert. Well, they don't do it anymore, but they used to bring out like 10 desserts that you could choose which one you wanted. So
Right.
you thought you wanted tiramisu, but then the chocolate mousse looked really good. But wait a minute. They have creme brulee. That's one of my favorites. So now you don't know which one to choose because you have so many options. So I feel like that what goes on the internet and how our minds are always constantly shifting, that's what's going on out. And it's interesting. I never looked at it that way. And now it makes sense to me because you're right. People will talk for a little bit, but while they're talking to somebody, they're still scoping the room.
Oh yeah, of course. One eye, yeah, they're talking to someone with one eye and the other eye's looking, across the bar for my next victim, so to speak.
Right.
Unfortunately, and I blame social media for
Totally.
99% of it, but we've gotten into this space now where, instant gratification. What's the next best thing?
Disposable people.
Disposable, right? Exactly. I find, and the dating sites are the absolute worst, but I feel like back in the day, you went to find somebody you like. I feel like in today's world, people meet someone to disqualify them, not to actually, and that really goes on in online dating.
Wait. Explain that. They meet people.
I will. So when I did online dating, I haven't been on there for 3 or 4 years, but I did it for a little bit, and you'll always say, you'll hear people all the time say, oh, there's nobody out there, there's no one to meet, and I
Yeah.
went on that date, nothing worked, just because I feel people are looking to disqualify. So what I mean by that is, let's say if you want to start with online dating, you go and you meet the person,
Yeah.
and I don't know if men do this, but I know women definitely do because I don't date men, so I can only
I
speak
know.
from
Well, this is why we're a
my
good
point of
team.
view. But
This is.
a woman will go to meet the guy, waiting for the first thing to say, nope, not him. She'll ask you 50 million questions,
Huh.
and maybe it's the first time you answer something wrong, or whatever the case is. But she's looking for something to say, no, not him next,
I see.
instead of actually giving someone a chance and saying, okay, well, let me
Yeah.
let this develop a little bit. A lot of times it's a one and done. And well, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. No, not for me, because they're just waiting, I guess,
Yep.
maybe to justify that they have 20 people they're talking to say, nope, nope, nope. And that's what I'm saying, why they're looking to disqualify people, because you hear more than not every reason why this person was no good or didn't, or not for them, or doesn't work, rather than, well, this was a nice person, and the conversation, or they were attractive, whatever, let me see where it can go. It's always a no, 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 next. And that's what I'm saying, people look to disqualify, because and I believe that's also why they ask you 50,000 questions, because they want, as soon as you answer the first one that they don't like, no, I'm out. Nope, I'm out, because they know there's 20 other people
They're
waiting.
looking to run. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And it's like, okay, well, I said I did it. I said I tried, but no, there's just no one here. They're not really open to meeting someone. They're just going through the motions. Another thing is too, like you were talking about back in the day.
Right.
You would go out. There was no social media. There was no online dating. So you had to actually go out to meet someone.
Right.
But if you went out to meet someone, you were giving your number out once, because, again, you were spending the majority of the night with this one person.
Right.
You would write your number down to one guy.
Right.
Where today, at home, you literally could sit on online dating and give your number out to 10 people in one day. Here's my number. Here's my number. Here's my number. Here's my number. And, you would never do that. You would never go to a bar and hand your number out to 10 guys that evening. You're not going to do that.
Well, I guess some people do, but yes, I know.
Yeah, but I'm saying, somebody normal, but and this is what happens. So it just becomes overstimulation, like you said, and it's what's the next best thing, and nobody stops to at least concentrate on one person. And how can you, right? If you're talking to 10 people online, how do you concentrate on anybody? How does anybody get a fair chance?
Yeah. And I have some funny stories about that too. It's interesting though. So I just want to like just go back to some of the points that you just made, because again, like you said, you're not dating guys, so you don't know the flip side of it, right?
Right.
And so I always love the perspective. I don't know. I've always gotten along with men better than women. In my older age, for some reason, all of a sudden women like me, but that wasn't the norm. And
No, women can be tough with each other. I have a lot of girlfriends who say I'd rather hang out with guys because, they're not as competitive or judgmental, and your guy friends are easy with you. If you can't, like for instance, I have one friend of mine. She's like, my girlfriends and they want my time, but she's very busy. She owns a lot of businesses. She's very successful, so her time is limited. And she'll say, my girlfriends, like if I can't call them back or I can't hang out, they get upset or they get
yep,
emotional about it. With my
yep.
guy friend, if I don't talk to him for 3 weeks, they're like, it's fine, don't worry about it. It's just less pressure. There's not that competition and emotional thing with it. So I know a lot of women are like, oh, I just rather hang out with guys. It's easier.
You know what? And that's an ish at this point, because that is true to a certain extent. When I was younger, I felt that way, but when you really have your tribe and my circle is super small. It's like a dot. Okay. But like the people that I know, like, that are my people, those things don't even come into play, because yeah, you get a little in your feelings sometimes, but like I'll verbalize that. Like I'll say to like one of my best friends, I'm like, like I haven't really heard from you. Like I keep reaching out. I don't hear from you. I'm trying not to take it personally. I just want you to know, like, I love you and I miss you or whatever. And I let it go, because after you go through certain things in your life, and I think that this also comes with age. I could be wrong, but I think for me, after you've been through so many things in life that will like knock you the fuck down,
Mm-hmm.
you learn that some of that shit is really not that important.
No, definitely not.
And yes, women are definitely, so the thing with a guy or relationship with a male and a female is you just have to get out of the thing that you're not having sex or you are having sex, whatever the case may be. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the only difference when you have a relationship between a guy and a girl. Yes, it is usually less drama, but some aren't, because I have a friend of mine that he is like the biggest drama king in the world, yet he tells me I'm the one that has all the drama. So,
Yeah, there's men that can be like that, sure.
oh my God. So, but he's a female version of me. So,
Right.
I believe the universe puts people in place so that you can see, where you're going with that. But it is very interesting, all of the things that you just said and the perspective. So first, I just want to thank everybody that is tuning in right now. You are tuned into Coffee Talk with Karen and Anthony. We are live on Real Talk with KarenStacy.podbean.com. You hit that like and follow. And if you are here, say hello and join the conversation. If you want to make a comment, I will read it and we can discuss it. And if you are catching this on the replay, you can hear this on any of your favorite podcast platforms. So, Anthony and I are kind of shooting the shit because I am so grateful to have a male perspective on here. And, he's a street smart male perspective. So we're talking about a little bit of everything. And it's probably right now we're talking about the climate. And, it's interesting that when you were saying that people want to disqualify and that people are looking to hook up. Now, do you feel that the hookup situation is happening with people that are more in like the 40 and 50 and over range, or are you seeing that in younger crowds as well?
I see it in both.
Really?
I Yeah, I see it in both. I would say I see it in the older crowd, probably more married people,
Oh,
or that hookup area where, I do see it with the younger crowd, but they have a whole different perspective. Their idea of what's acceptable is way different than when we were that age.
And do you know what that is? Because I'm not in tune with that. So do you know, like, have you had conversations? Do you know what?
Well, you know, just being promiscuous in general. Like, and when we were younger, that was a no-no. You didn't want to sleep around. You didn't want to dress a certain way. The kids today, they really, to them, it's acceptable. You could have your ass out all over
Oh,
Instagram.
oh my
Go to the
God.
beach, and you're going to see all these, I don't know what they call them, French cut thongs, whatever they are, but everybody's ass is out on the beach, literally ass cheeks all over the place, where we didn't do that.
Mhm.
Having a high body count to some of these girls is even, um, I want to say like a high five moment.
A high body
Where
count meaning how many men they slept with?
yes,
Oh,
it's
okay.
not a big deal to them.
Okay.
What's the difference? Like, they could be sexually promiscuous. I mean, look at the music. If you just even look at the
Hello.
lyrics of the music, look at social media, look at reality TV.
Yep.
It's everything is way oversexed, and for women too.
Yeah.
And it's that modern feminism too, where hey, a man could do it, we could do it, and they kind of want to be like men, where they do want to sleep around, and it's not a big deal for them, and it's okay, you can't judge me type of situation. Where when we were younger, that just didn't happen.
Yeah.
The last thing you wanted to do was be the neighborhood putana. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah. Oh, totally. And you know what? And that's so funny that you say that. And that's the reason why, like, you see me, like, I go out like an hour away from my house. Not because I'm banging everybody wherever I'm going, but because don't like get out of your backyard. And I've said this all the time because you know what? If I want to have fun and I want to do whatever and I'm not doing anything I'm ashamed of, I don't need like everybody and their mother talking about me.
Right.
So I prefer, I mean, unfortunately, there aren't many places that I go that I don't know a lot of people, which, I'm thankful that I do have somewhat of a following, but, when I was younger, I never was in the neighborhood, and it's a big joke because I became friendly with people like after I had graduated high school or whatever. And this one guy from my neighborhood, he like is so pissed off that he didn't know me from when we were younger. And he would like anybody would be, oh yeah, he's like, no, you don't know her. You don't know her because she didn't hang out. And it's just so funny because I didn't, and I didn't do it for that exact reason because I talked about this 100 times on my show. And there was a guy from the neighborhood that got cribs. He had a girlfriend. And I will tell you that I heard that everybody in the neighborhood had cribs. So how did that happen? Right? So yes, I always was the type that if somebody was comparing notes, I would drop dead. Like there's no way in hell that I ever would want that. So you know what? The way I look at it is you want to do what you want to do and you want to jump on whoever you want to jump on. Hey, listen, it's all good. Just, keep your private life private. That's
Right.
my opinion. But you did bring up a really good point because it's funny because, my son is 16
Right.
and so he's on, social media or whatever. Or I see a picture and there's a young girl, a teenage girl, and
Hmm.
these dresses. So she's wearing a dress and like the dress barely covers her. And no one
Yep.
showed me I said, listen to me right now. Nothing good comes of this. I said, this freaking dress barely covers her como se llama. Never mind her ass.
Every Sweet 16 that I've done or been around, the majority of the night, the girls are pulling the dress down because, like you said, and not to sound the wrong way, but by the end of the night, you know what every color underwear every girl has on because they eventually just pop up. Where it's like you said, they have to keep pulling it down to just cover their privates, and yeah, I mean, and then the boobs are out, and look, let's be honest, these kids, even the boys, they're developing a lot faster
Yes.
than we did. These young girls look like women, and the young men, look like men already.
Yes.
They're developing.
Yes.
So as I'm saying, the whole mindset is different.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know where the hell the parents are in this. I
Thank you.
really don't. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So like I said, that mindset of it's okay to dress like this, it's okay to act like this. Like I do a Thursday night, and it's a younger crowd, more college crowd. But the girls they're wild. They're wild. Even the way they'll dance and they'll get on all fours or they'll bend
Oh
over.
my
Let
God,
guys,
really?
I'll show you a video and let guys hump them. Like as if they were having sex from behind. Like this is just what it is, and they all do
Wow.
it. They all think it's great. So
Wow.
getting back to what I was saying is that it's that mindset is a lot different. So hookup culture for them is no big deal,
Mm.
because this is just the norm. Where with us it wasn't. Now I say with us at our age, I see it more in people who are relationships and people who are cheating because listen, you can't carry on. I mean, I guess you can try to carry on two relationships, but mostly you'll get somebody that's either married or in a relationship, wants the little side thing, and have that hookup thing, and then bounce.
Right.
So I see more of the hookup culture with people that are cheating,
Right.
and I see a ton of it, a ton of it.
Now you just clarified why I'm scary, because I am like, don't touch me.
Right.
I mean, you've seen me on the dance floor. I mean, usually I'm there with people that no guy would be coming up to me anyway, but
No, absolutely.
there
But
are
you
other.
can carry yourself in a different way too.
Right. There were other times that I've been there only with my girlfriends, and you still see that no one, like, I carry myself the same way no matter what, whether I'm
Right.
with a man, not with a man. My rules are always the same.
Hmm.
You don't know me, be respectful. And so it's an interesting thing because this is where the blurred lines come into play. And this is where maybe, thinking back to what you were saying, how people, the women that you were speaking of, trying to disqualify, and like everybody is so quick to like get the hell away from me.
Right.
Ish. But then you're saying to me that that's not the case because everybody is like, come on, jump on board. So there's a lot of mixed signals out there. So I guess people don't know what to do, because if women are acting that way and they're letting guys hump on them and everything, then of course a man is going to try it with whomever it is, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
See, so here's what happens, and not all women are like this, but
of
before
course.
I don't want to give that impression.
Right, right.
But then what happens is, and this happens on online dating, it happens whatever. If you get a certain group of women that are like this, unfortunately, guys will be stupid and think all women are like this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, and then what they do is they'll try to approach those women that are like, hey, I'm sorry, but I'm not like that. I don't, that's not me. But they'll still just assume everybody's like that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Where, hey, everybody else hooks up, why don't you? Or everybody, these girls let me grind on them, why don't you? And I don't understand why men kind of have that approach, but they will, because they'll figure it's a numbers game, right? So eventually someone will want to do it, but they will, instead of looking at people individually, just think, well, she must be like that too.
Right. And that's
Which
a good way to get punched in the face,
it
because
definitely, yeah, it definitely is.
I don't even think I can I've had a drink in one hand and knock somebody out with the other. Like, are you kidding me right now? And
Yeah,
did
well,
not spill my drink.
I see guys are more handsy these days too.
Yeah, get the hell out of here.
Where again, I feel back in the day there was a little bit more level of respect. Where if you danced with someone, maybe after a while you kind of got that vibe that it was kind of going that way, and maybe you
Right.
would dance a
That's
little bit
reading the
close.
room.
Right, you would dance a little bit close on the floor. Maybe you kissed them, or maybe whatever. But it was like a build up where I see today, and I feel bad for a lot of women. And there's times I had to come out from behind the DJ booth and be like, "Hey, enough." But you'll
Really?
get these guys that are very handsy. Yeah, I'll just
Really?
come up and grab girls or grind on girls. Where some will be like, "Hey, I'm not here for that. Like, I want to dance with my girlfriends, or,
Yeah, yeah.
or don't approach me that way." But and again, I think it all ties into this hookup culture and this what's acceptable culture where again, back in our day, there was just a level of respect. There was steps that you did things. Where today, I just think it's whatever goes goes, and I think that's why things are so bad. It's such a mess.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because years ago I was out, and I was always the type, I'm out with my girlfriends. Like, I love to dance. So I hear good music, I want to dance. And like, I remember a guy saying to me, and I'm talking, this was a long time ago. I want to say I was at Zachary's, but like the original Zachary's, not the newer Zachary's that, was no longer there too. And I remember I was with my girlfriends and this guy was trying to talk to us. And I said, you know what? I'm hanging with my girlfriends right now. And he was like, so why'd you come out? To hang with my girlfriends. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
back it up, and so it's a very interesting, I mean, like, and again, what are you putting out there? I told my son, you see a girl dressed like that, run, nothing good's coming of it. And, again, I don't mean to, there's no judgment because I don't judge nobody. Let me tell you something. I met my husband when I was 21 years old. And we met and had a one night stand. That was the longest one night stand I ever had in my life. Okay.
I had one of those myself where it turned into a very long relationship, and that could happen. It could happen.
It
Sure.
could, but you both have to be on the same page because,
Yes.
like, again, growing up in the neighborhood I grew up in, all the guys were like, oh, you got to make them have blue balls. You can't, you did, and like, if you're looking at me like that, like, come on, really? So like, I'm a very, like, I don't judge. I have an opinion, but I'm not going to judge because you know what? Chemistry is chemistry and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And, if as long as you're not, banging the whole wide world and, bringing, disease and stuff to others, then, listen, do what you got to do.
Yeah, I'm a believer in that. Do what you have to do, especially at this age. If you're an adult, I mean, if you have two people that are consensual, and again, it's not that you're going doing it with everybody, but if you happen to meet someone, and I was never a fan of a guy that bangs a bunch of girls is a hero, and a
Get out of
woman
here.
who has sex with a lot of men is
A
is bad.
whore.
Right. I don't believe in that because it does take two. That's like if you and I went and we robbed a bank, and I'm say, well, I'm a thief. I'm sorry, you're a thief, but I'm not. Well, we're both thieves. We both robbed it. It took, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you can't point the finger at one and not point the finger at the other. I just think that's a silly way. And I'll know so many females that'll say, "Oh, well, I'm a good girl," and I'll say, "Okay, well, what does that what does that mean? You having sex or not having sex, I don't think determines if you're a good person." So,
Right.
and I think people, and this is one of the issues with our age, right? Because our generation, we tied them in together, and I don't believe in
It's a
that
very
anymore.
good
I really
point.
think it's silly. So, in other words, if you were to meet somebody
Yep.
and the attraction was there, the chemistry was there, you had a great time, and you ended up in bed at the end of the night. Does that mean you're not a good person now? Does it mean you're not an honest person? Does it mean you're not a good friend, a good mother, a good husband? Does it mean you're a liar all of a sudden? No, one thing has nothing to do with the other.
Yeah.
Um, but we tend to tie that in too much.
Very, very good point.
You know what I'm saying? With how people are viewed, and I don't think you should be viewed based on that. What I like to do is, if I'm going to judge you, I'm going to judge you on how you treat me. I'm going to judge you how you are towards me. I'm not going to judge you on an action because, again, it takes two of us. So if I'm there with you having sex, I can't point the finger at you, but then say I'm scot free. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I might have a different way of thinking. And I think what happens I know there's a lot of guys who disagree with me with that and say, no, that's ridiculous. And,
Mm.
if she slept with you, that means she must have slept with a bunch of other
Right.
people and this,
That's
that, and the
true.
other.
Yep.
But
They say that.
that also comes down to insecurity, right? That comes down to not being able to handle the fact that maybe she did have sex with other people. I mean, at this age, people are going to have sex with other people. And
Right.
whether you wait, and look, like say you and I were on a date, we had this great attraction and chemistry. You
Mm-hmm.
can make me wait a month. What's the difference?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All you're doing is making me wait. It's not all of a sudden because you made me wait a week or wait a month means that, wow, this is the woman of my dreams. No, it has nothing to do with if you're going to get along, how the chemistry is. Are you an honest person? Can I trust you? One has nothing to do with the other.
Mm.
So that's part of our generation, I think, is a little silly. We should kind of do away from it, but not get to the point where this generation has gone way the other way.
Right. Well, there's a
Sleep
different,
with everybody.
so that's, you have to have a certain level of, so the younger kids, you don't even know whether they don't know who the hell they are yet. So
No.
you don't know whether they're I don't want to use the word good person or whatever. Like, they're still being established. And so when we were younger, we were being established. And I think that one of the things that hits me and I think about is that the older people now, you have, like you said, there are categories, right? So one of the categories is that they're divorced, and they probably had, from what I've heard, I mean, I when I was, trying to date and meeting guys or whatever, I mean, there was a guy, I mean, most of the guys never stopped talking about their ex.
Oh, oh my
Okay.
God. Oh, I can tell you the women, oh man, that's all they do. But go ahead.
Right. Okay. So now I say to myself, that's an hour of my life I'm never getting back. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to freaking hear about it. Like, now, granted, if you, that conversation should go as, well, okay, you've been single for 11 years. Like, and then it could like, can I ask what happened with your last, relationship? And the answer to that would be like, a 3-column, essay. It would be 3 paragraphs, not 3 hours.
See,
So
I'm never a fan of that question. What happened in your last relationship? Because again, I don't think it matters. And I know men do it because I hear from women. Again, I can only speak from my experience, and anyone who knows me knows this is one of my pet peeves. Because again, when I did online dating, it got to the point where I literally just I would get up and just leave because the ex wouldn't, like, the ex conversation wouldn't stop.
mhm.
And it's all they want to talk about.
And the
90,
resentment and the
right, 90% of the
bitterness.
posts that I see on Facebook, my ex this, everybody's a narcissist. I mean, when you look up, there's only a certain percentage of actual narcissists in the world, but it seems that these few narcissists must date everybody because everybody's is a narcissist now, and it's all about my ex, my ex, my ex, my ex, and it's gotten to the point where it's like I don't think a lot of these people are ready. I think, and I
Agreed.
know women who do this. Again, I can't speak for men, so I don't want to sound like I'm just coming after women.
No, that's
I
okay.
hear from my girls' friends that guys do it too, but um, I know girls, they'll break up in a relationship and run to online dating. I mean, literally, like the next day. Oh, just go out there, just have a date, just whatever, and you're not ready yet. And I don't think that's fair to the other person.
I
Um,
agree.
or they get to the point where their friends are sick of hearing about the ex, so they want a new victim. They want a new set of ears that are listening. But um, getting back to the thing, asking somebody, and I used to get that question right off the bat, would be like, when was your last relationship, and how long was it, and why didn't it work out? I'm going to say why I'm not a fan of that is it has nothing to do with you and I. First of all, you shouldn't even be talking about exes or last relationships or anything because if you're on a date, you're supposed to be getting to know that person. You should be present. But why I say it doesn't matter is what happened between you and your ex, that's a different person. I'm a different person. This is a different time. It's a different relationships. Not all relationships go the same. And just because I might have treated one woman like this doesn't mean I'm going to treat the next woman like that because every time you meet someone, they bring out a different side of you. So
Mhm.
you have these relationships where some of them, there's a lot of passion. It's very physical. There's that heat there.
Mhm.
Others maybe not so much. It could be more mentally stimulating or you have great conversations, but you react differently to if you think about every guy you dated, you didn't have the same exact feelings or the same exact chemistry with them. There's always a difference. And it's the same thing with women. There's always a difference. So you could put 5 women in the same situation doesn't mean I'm going to react the same way 5 times. I might
Mhm.
react differently 5 different times because
Mhm.
each woman is different. Your level of feelings, how deep you feel for somebody is different. So it doesn't always mean that you're going to get the same result. Now, I don't know how men think, but I know a lot of women will think that, well, we're all the same, and you're not. Plus, there's always going to be that one woman that really grabs a guy that he is going to treat completely different
Yep.
than he did everybody else.
Yep.
He's going to bend over backwards for this one.
Yep. Well,
Maybe you're that one. So again, asking what happened, doesn't determine, and it really doesn't make a difference, because I'm with you now. It's a different time. It's a different situation. And then sometimes I feel like people are asking that question because they're trying to, again, disqualify or maybe get the red flags. And I'm thinking it's the stupidest thing in the world, because what do you think someone's going to say to you? What happened in your last relationship? Why didn't it work out? Well, because I cheated, or I beat them up, or, I wasn't nice. Like, people are going to answer that question how you think they want to hear it. They're never going to kind of be honest, but I just don't understand the point of it. And then talking about it, oh my God, I can't tell you how many times I literally had to get up and walk out of a date because I would say, please stop, and they couldn't. One time, actually, I met somebody in Princeton, and we were at the bar, and the place was dead. It was me, her, and the bartender. And she went on about the ex, right? On and on and on. And the bartender was looking at his watch, right? Looking at me, looking at the watch. Well, when she went to the bathroom, the bar sent it to me. He said to me, 47 minutes. She went 47 straight minutes without talking about anything else but the ex. And it's, again, like you said, nobody wants to get dressed, get all done up, drive to a place to meet someone and hear about the ex. It's just, it's ridiculous. And if that's where your head is at, you are not ready to date, and you shouldn't be dating, because you should keep it present. You should keep it about the person. And, later on, if you want to bring it up, you could, but you don't. It's definitely is something that should not be talked about at all.
Well, I agree with you. I'm going to give you a different perspective and where I was coming from when I was saying that. But everything you just said, totally on point. My thing is that, like, for instance, I guess I'm also in a different category, right? So, I'm a widow. That's why I'm not married or whatever you want to say, right? So
Right.
it's different. And that is part of my being. So I've been out with guys, and some guys will be like, well, I can't compete, with your ex. And I'm like, first of all, he wasn't my ex. And second of all, why would you can't compete, because he was him and you're you. So there is no competition. And if you're in competition with a dead man, I got nothing for you. So
Right.
I think that what I meant when I said, like, just like a few paragraphs, is basically meaning that it's a synopsis of who you are, meaning like that's your makeup. So if, like, let's just say for argument's sake, in X or whatever, and, it should be a few paragraphs. Like, well, you know what? We kind of grew apart. We were going in different directions, and, I'm going this way and they're going that way. That's what I mean by that, where it kind of gives you a little bit of insight. You don't need details. You just need, like, and again, like you just said, the people that were speaking, those people that are speaking like that are not healed. They're not ready for a relationship because they want to just be mad about their previous relationship, just like what you said with the disqualifying. It's like, I find that people just want to be mad. They want
to be victims. They want to be angry, and
Yep.
and I have girlfriends that I yell about this too. And look, again, I can give you a list of a million things that guys do wrong and the things where we're not the best. But I find that so many women are obsessed with looking backwards and don't want to look forward. They obsess about what didn't work rather than what could work. You know, and they just are, oh, but the X, and all the posts and all the memes and, you know, about, and keep toxic people away, and everything's so negative, and
Yeah.
they're just, you know, all they want to worry about is the guy in sixth grade who didn't ask him to the dance, like just crazy stuff where it's like, I try to tell people, as long as you're alive, there's life left in front of you, right? So whatever happened, put it away. But there's chapters of your life that haven't been written yet. It's blank pages. You could write them however you want.
I
We all
love
have
that.
horror stories, right? We've all been cheated on. We've all had crazy exes or
Not
bad
me.
things, but put it, well, you're lucky, but put it away and look forward. You know, you have chapters in front of you. Write it however you want.
Right.
No, instead of just worrying about what didn't work, and then you want to meet somebody and you want to treat them as if they're guilty until proven innocent,
Right.
you know, and oh, well, this triggers me, and
Right.
no, like, listen, you're never going to find happiness. You are never going to be happy. And too many people today, and again, this goes back to social media, they want to, the woe is me, they want to be
Yep.
victims, because it's all about attention, right? It's all about gathering that attention. So people say, oh my God, not you, you're so wonderful, you don't deserve that, you know, and instead of like just putting all that garbage behind and looking to find someone nice, just moving on with your life, you know, moving forward, always move forward. That's what I try to tell people. It's what I do. Just go forward. What happened would happen. It's done with. It's over with. You can't go back and change it. Why do you want to obsess about it? Because then you have a nice person sitting in front of you and you're not even
You're missing
concerned
it.
in front of you. You're missing it because you want to talk about some guy. And I tell you know what? And I'll get raw with them. I'll tell them, you know, you're sitting here worried about your ex. Your ex don't even remember your last name anymore. I'm going to be honest with you. He can give a shit less about you. He's probably home with some girl right now, not caring where you are or what you're doing, or probably forgot everything about you. And you want to sit here and you want to obsess over someone like that? For what? What is it going to do for your life? But bring you negativity, you know, but bring you, you know, bad feelings, not happy. I just, I can't, and it's one of the reasons why, if I could, I would stay off social media. But yeah, as a society, we need to get away from that, and that is our generation. That's not the younger generation. They
Okay.
seem to be able to move on a lot quicker and put it behind it. Our generation, oh my God, we love to be victims. I don't know what the hell happened with us because I thought we were a lot tougher, but yeah, our generation needs to really knock that off and just look forward. Be happy. You know, you got one life. And at this point, we're 50, we're 60 years old. Look, you don't know how much time you have left. I hope everybody lives to 100, but that's not always the case. So if you have 30, 35 years left, 25 years left, do you want to spend them, woe is me, about an ex, or do you want to be happy? Be happy. Move forward. And that's the thing I find that our generation has the biggest problem doing.
You know, I think that that's actually also a really good topic if we can do this again.
Sure.
That's a great topic to go further into because, you know, like you just said, you know, the younger generation isn't doing that. You thought, you know, our generation would be a little different and tougher, but I think the younger generation also, they have no roots. So they bounce because they just don't give a shit because, you know, everybody is disposable. And I think with our generation, I think people we don't have that same mentality of people being disposable. But you know, it's just a thought because it is interesting, like you said, but I think that because of the younger generation and everything is so fast paced and you can replace people, so to speak, I think that people of our generation don't really know how to do that because we're accustomed to, you know, having our feet in the ground, so to speak. And
Yes, but there's, you know, and so what I always like to do is take a positive from a negative, right? So even if you look at today's generation and you perceive some of these things to be negative, well, you could flip that and take the positive from it. So how they're able to move on, you don't need to move on maybe the way they do, but take that mentality to say, okay, it happened. It's over. I'll take my minute. I'll brush myself off. I'll be hurt about it for a second, and then I'll move on. So kind of take that mentality and make it better, or use it in a way that maybe not the way they do it, but to move on instead of this constant, woe is me, life is. I mean, you talk to most people our age, and it's, everybody's a victim of something. Everybody's broken and has anxiety and all this, and it's like, I don't understand, why do you want to live life like that? Why do you want to be broken and full of anxiety and woe is me? Where don't you want to be happy? It's just, I can't fathom that mindset. And look, I'm Italian, and I'm going to tell you, nobody does it more than Italians. It's like, even if you look at the old school Italians, always, they used to wear the black all the time,
Yep.
and everything is, when you talk to them, and everybody's sick, and how you doing? Oh, I got this wrong with
Yep.
me.
Guess
Did you
the
hear this one's
disease.
got cancer?
Yeah,
Oh,
guess the
that one
disease.
died. This
Yep.
one's son is on drugs. Like, everything is the end of the world.
Yep.
And it's just, I don't know. It's a horrible way. So I'm going to look at the younger generation and say, look, I don't want to emulate a lot of what they do, but in some cases, you know what? They have a better mindset in some cases. So I'm going to take that mindset and apply it to me and stick with positive. When your words are powerful, right? And what you say and what you portray, that's going to be your life. So if you're constantly in this negative, mind space and this negative energy, and everything is woe is me, and things are not good, and there's no men out there, and everyone's toxic, and this one's a narcissist, that's going to be your life. Your life is going to be shit. And you're never going to be happy, because this is what you portray. This is what you put out there. So what you say to yourself, how you view yourself, how you view everybody else is going to determine your happiness. So you have to speak positively. You got to speak to yourself and about other people in a way that's going to be positive. It's going to be happy. It's going to be like, yes, okay, I went through that, but I'm going to be better. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to grow. I'm going to evolve. Constantly in that growth mindset. That's when you look at people who are happy, that's what they do. When you look at people who have great relationships and they're successful, they're happy, they don't talk about the negative stuff all the time. They don't go on and on and on about it. The people you see do that are miserable. You don't even want to be around them. And if you look at your Facebook, I'm sure right now in your head you could think, you even know the ones that I'm talking about, because it's all they do, right? And that's something we need to change. We need to change big time. We need to stop worrying about getting attention. We need to stop worrying about being victims, because it's not fun, and be happy, because there are people out there. There are good, decent people out there. You can be happy. Even if you came from a bad, shitty relationship, doesn't mean it has to determine the rest of your life. You could move forward with that and meet someone and be happy, but you have to allow yourself.
And you know what? This is our next topic when we do this again, is don't you want to be happy? And we're gonna build off of that, because
Sure.
I think, it's funny. I mean, obviously you and I have, we know each other for a bit now, but we haven't had the opportunity to have like real heart to hearts. We've spoken here and there, but it's,
Right.
I speak about, this is my mission with my shows, is to show people, a different way of looking at things, and to help people to grow. And, a lot of people are not self-aware. So I think that sometimes speaking about these things can resonate with others, and that they may actually say, wait a second, am I doing that? Like, cause usually the people that are doing it are the most clueless that they're not. So I really love the direction you're going in, because this is my platform and this is what I like to talk about. Don't get me wrong. I like to have fun and joke around about certain things or whatever. But at the end of the day, besides being entertained for an hour, it's really nice to actually grow and learn something and gain a different perspective. So if you're good with that, I would
Yeah,
love that to be
absolutely.
our next show.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, this is something I had to learn. I wasn't always like this. And I had to be around the right people. And that's another thing, you have to surround yourself with the right people because
Yep.
you are who you hang out with. And you should really always surround yourself with people who do better than you or people that are constantly in a growth mindset because you will eventually adopt that. And, I did the same thing for a minute, and I would be angry and pissed and I would let everything around me consumed me, all the negative, but I wasn't happy. I was never happy. Everything was always the negative until I realized, like, what the hell am I doing? I'm not dead yet. I'm only 52 years old. I have life in front of me. What the hell am I wasting time for? Um, and then you learn to be happy, and you'll see the world in a completely different, lens. But it's a matter of, like you say, being self-aware, but then being open to change about it.
Right. And
Um,
and so we're
Makes you
gonna
happy.
we're going to leave it right there because we're going
Okay.
to talk about this for the next one. And that's going to be our topic. Don't you want to be happy? And then you can, we can go on about that and talk about all of the do's and don'ts, so to speak, because, recognizing what we may be saying and what we may be doing, and then maybe, experimenting on what we maybe can do or should do. So, we will definitely, I know, you have to check your schedule. So, if we will announce when the next show will be, but that's going to be our title. Don't you want to be happy?
So I just want to say this about it. So anyone who's listening or might listen later or might get word, this is going to be a tricky topic, right? But I do want to point out that anyone that maybe wants to join or listen or say, hey, I'm interested in this, there is absolutely no judgment. And so I want people to know that.
Yeah.
You're not a bad person. You're not going to get beat up, verbally for it or say,
Never.
oh, God, I'm scared to talk about that because this guy is going to destroy me. No,
Never.
it's not about that. If you really feel like, hey, how can I be better? I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk with you and I'm going to learn with you. So there's no judgment. Like I said, I've done it myself. Nobody's better than anybody else. So I just want your listeners to know that if they come on and talk about this, it's more of come talk with open arms. It's not going to be, I want to pick on you and I want to rip you apart. More like, hey, let me just try to show you a different way.
Yeah. And that's,
So I
again,
want them to know that.
that is, and thank you for saying that, because, that is my whole purpose, for doing these shows. And so I love that. And I appreciate that, that you said that. And it's our listeners because this is Coffee Talk with Karen and Anthony, not just Karen. So, I want to say thank you. I know that we were trying to get together and do the
Yeah, I
show
know.
and there were some
Sorry.
complications, but we made it.
We did. We got. I know. I'm sorry with my dad and everything, and it was
No,
tough. But yeah. No,
thank
no. I
God he's
definitely.
okay.
I enjoyed this. I definitely want to do it again.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I enjoyed it as well. And for any of you guys that are listening, make sure that you do check out Anthony if you're in the Jersey area. Anthony, tell them your page or whatever so that they can find you if they want to come and listen to
Yeah,
you.
I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. At DJ Anthony Pags, or you could just look up Anthony Pagalucci. My name should be on here, or it's Paglucci. I'm always posting flyers about where I'm at. I'm in North Jersey. I'm in Central Jersey. In the summer, I'll be South Jersey a couple of times. So I'm in a lot of different areas. If you want to come out, please come out. Come up, say hi. Give me a request. I'll buy you a drink, whatever it is. But come out and have a fun night dancing with me. I'd love to see everyone.
Yes, and he is, I can tell you firsthand, he's an amazing DJ, so you will
Oh,
definitely have
thank you.
fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. I'm so glad that we did this today. And when we're off, we will figure out when the next one is. So our listeners just need to tune in and stay tuned for the announcements. So again, thank you so much, Anthony. I hope you have a great day. And this was
Yes, you too.
awesome.
Thank you, Karen.
All right. Bye. And bye,
Bye.
guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Real Talk with Karen Stacy.podbean.com. Hit that.